Now that I have the panel bolted together, I can start the wiring. For this, I have 4-gauge welding cable, 8-gauge welding cable, and a bunch of crimp lugs. I wanted to have tinned lugs for everything, but forgot to get lugs that were tinned, that are the right size for these shunt terminals. And the wire is also not tinned. This is just ordinary welding cable, so I'm not going to let that hold the project up. Water shouldn't get into this box, but usually for marine applications, everything has some kind of corrosion protection. For example, stainless fasteners. I need to make an important point about cable routing. These high current routes, and in particular the motor current path from the motor all the way back to the battery, will tend to radiate a lot of electrical noise from the motor. These signal wires that go to the battery monitor, this red wire powers the monitor and provides the battery positive voltage reading right from the battery terminal. This wire, which couples all of the signals, including the voltage across the shunt to the battery monitor, will tend to pick up those radiated emissions, and that will show up as inaccurate readings on the monitor. So it's important to route these cables away from the high current routes as much as possible. And some crossing is virtually unavoidable, but where that happens, they should cross at right angles, at least roughly. What I really need to avoid is long parallel runs. So for example, I wouldn't cable tie these together. Now it's time to start modding the box. First thing I need to do is remove that handle because it interferes with the crossbar in the Kayak, preventing the box from sitting down as far as it needs to, which is right here in the well. This just gets in the way. And I don't need a handle on the front side of the box. I've thrown the battery in here temporarily so you can see how this is shaping up. The battery needs to be, to me, left justified because the solar charger goes down here at this end, and it needs to be front justified for these connectors that protrude through the box wall a long way and have wires that come straight out because they all need clearance. But now at this point I can start sighting these connectors and drilling holes. fishing pole in the rod holder in the kayak is in this space right here. So this is a keep out zone. The only two areas below this is in the kayak well, so this is also a keep out zone. The only two places I have for connectors are here and here. And I have these two connectors to mount. And I think I want to reverse these. This connector is small and plastic and quite a bit more fragile, and if it gets whacked from the side, which is more likely out here at the corners, it's more likely to be damaged. So I think I'll put the small connector at this location and the larger connector at this location. What I want to do now is to pre-wire these two connectors. For this connector, I'll just make 3 pair of pigtails, 3 red, 3 black, for 3 complete circuits. The center pin will remain a no connect. For this, I have some 14 gauge wire. This is overkill. The rest of the cabling will be 18 gauge, but this is what I have around, so that's what I'll use. For this connector, and those like it, their entire purpose is to cable these connections from the battery monitor out to a remote console. So I will be taking chunks of this cable or a chunk of this cable to wire inside the box to the shunt. These I can just cut to some length that is more than what I need. This one I'll have to be more careful and kind of fit it in place, I think. This little connector. This is a signal connector, not a power connector, as I mentioned earlier. I need to route the wires from the shunt here to the connector here. I need to route them fairly intelligently to keep them away from interference sources as best I can. However, as you can see, this connector is surrounded by low impedance sources of crosstalk. So I'll just have to do the best I can with it. I'll run it basically straight out this way so that it crosses the main battery lead at a right angle, and then out and up here. This is a shielded cable. It's a foil shield with a tinned wire drain. They've soldered the drain to the center pin on this connector, wrapped in heat shrink. So I will do the same. What I'll do is just gather it up and twist it into a wire. I'm now ready to turn my attention to mounting the two input connectors. One for AC mains charging, one for solar charging. These are both salvaged from the original box, so I have a little bit of cleanup to do here. These wire runs will be shorter than the original by, well, maybe. I can cut the positive lead, but I might actually have to extend the negative. We'll see how it goes. And this side of the box is subject to the same constraints as the other. The Kayak well comes up to here, rod holder. So I have this space here because this connector protrudes through the wall of the box quite a ways. It needs to be toward this end as far as I can get it in order to not hit the battery. This connector can go here or here, but I also have a solar charger to mount to this end, and I would prefer to put that in the middle. So I think that I'll put the solar charging connector over here.